Hello and welcome to the third episode of Creeping Up the Candle. The microphone's plugged in this time.
It is.
We're ready to go.
Ready to go.
So, let's begin. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
As promised, we are going to be having a think about Holy Week, reflecting back on all the things that we have done in the week leading up to Easter. And especially for me, because it's the first time I've experienced the whole of Holy Week. Previously, I'd been away for Easter and done Holy Week things with college. And before that, there was the pandemic. And then before that, I had many small children. So a lot of the Holy Week stuff happens in the evening, which was, of course, bedtime. So I missed quite a few of the services. But, John, that's probably where we should begin.
Yeah, absolutely. A reflection of what happened all throughout Holy Week with all the liturgy services that we had, and really your experience on the whole.
Yeah, it was really, really positive. I went into it, it's quite cynical about some of the things that you were asking me to do. But
Nothing new? Nothing new?
No, even more cynical than usual. But no, it was good. And I guess where we should start is, I called them all services, all the services we did in Holy Week. You called them liturgies. There's a subtle difference.
There are a variety of services, and each service will have a different liturgy depending on the kind of service and the nature of the service. Now we had different services such as Compline, the Eucharist, but then of course the liturgy of Palm Sunday is different from the liturgy on Maundy Thursday or Good Friday or the Easter Vigil, that are very enriching, the most rich liturgies of the Christian calendar.
So what do we mean by liturgy? Because it's not, I thought it was interchangeable with the word service whenever I've used it.
Not necessarily. Now a liturgy, that is a term that comes from the Greek. It means
the Greek.
Work done on behalf of the people. So it's a holy work done on behalf of the people. Mm-hmm. A group, an individual doing the liturgy on behalf of a larger community. So all worshippers are expected to participate actively in each one of these liturgies, this holy work done on behalf of the whole people. And this holy work is not entertainment, it is what we understand as holy drama.
Holy drama, I love that expression.
Every liturgical celebration is an action of Christ, the high priest, and of his mystical body, the church. It therefore requires the participation of God's holy people in the work of God, the liturgy.
So that's really interesting, because I think it was the community aspect of things which helped me overcome a couple of my ick moments. There are a couple of things I'd never come across before, so venerating the cross. I'm not a great venerator.
Now the Protestant soul is coming up.
Absolutely. John often remarks on my venerating of the altar on a Sunday.
Which you do.
Because you tell me to.
There's different ways in which we venerate, and again, this is a symbol, and we venerate the symbol. Symbols are very important in the liturgy, because a symbol is a physical object, a physical thing that represents a higher reality. And in the case of the cross, of course, Good Friday and the liturgy of Good Friday, the cross takes central stage. And to venerate the cross is, as St. Ignatius of Loyola would say, as if you were present there at the foot of the cross. So it's a symbol of humility, a symbol of faith and devotion to that, yes, that piece of wood, but it's more than that. The symbol is that is the cross of our Lord that saved humanity.
And I think it was, I was the last person to venerate the cross on Good Friday, and I went into it not convinced, but I think having watched this as a congregation who've done this for years, not just you, they did it for years and years, and being part of that and picking up the atmosphere that's exactly what they were doing, then made it make a lot more sense.
You were holding the cross when people were venerating, so you had first place to observe the devotion and faith.
And the Holy Spirit around, kind of making it more than just stand there and kiss the cross. So that was definitely, I think, a liturgical thing which drew me in. So would you say it's more about experiencing God than what we do?
Well, I think it is, yes, and you really, your reflection is really good in seeing the whole people and this shared experience. That is the work of the liturgy. It is something that on behalf of the people all together doing this holy work. And it is really through the liturgical celebration of the church that we participate in the Paschal mystery of Christ.
Yeah.
This is passing through death from the life into eternal life. So the liturgy of the church is also to help us there and to teach us about Jesus Christ and the meaning of the mysteries that we are celebrating.
And it's the meanings which always I think got me through, because quite often when we started doing normal Sunday liturgies, I'd be like, I've got to stand here, I've got to do this. I remember saying to you at one point, but no, I was standing in the wrong place. Do you remember that conversation?
I remember, yes.
And
yes.
Helpful advice?
You were quite worried about, doing. Will I do the wrong thing? Will I be standing? And I said, well, if you realise you're standing on the wrong place, just move to the right place.
Revelation. And I suppose I thought at that point that it only mattered that you got the things in the right order, but what matters is that you make the atmosphere that the mystery can be experienced.
It is to embody what you are doing. And when you are leading a service, when you are leading the liturgy, you are acting in persona Christi, in the person of Christ. Well, yes, Mary, your sermon was very good on Maundy Thursday. I think the theme that you chose, entering into the mystery of love, really encapsulated the meaning of Maundy Thursday, and you really helped us to relive the great story of our salvation.
And yeah, I think it fitted really well with the symbols and the actions which we've been talking about all the way through. It was good. The storytelling side of things is fascinating, isn't it? Because last year, I mentioned briefly, I was in the Holy Land.
Were you?
I was in the...
Were you really? Oh,
Have
we
I
never heard
mentioned?
that.
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
It's good, you should go now. So last year was in the Holy Land, and we went round the places where these things happened, and it was really easy to relive them there. But the power I found in Holy Week this week was that my experiences there linked in with what was happening in church, and likewise the experiences I had in church made me go back and think about the places we visited in the Holy Land. So yeah, that's obviously college knowing what they're doing, setting us up to come into curacy with those experiences. But it's not that you have to have been to the Holy Land to experience. Each of the days has a rhythm and a kind of humanity that you can relate to. So we've talked about the love for the foot washing, the utter desolation of the cross on Good Friday, when everything's stripped away. There are so many points in our life where that relates to. So I found that Holy Week was a really good way of getting in touch with not just Jesus' story, but my own story and the human emotions which will come in life, almost a way of rehearsing. But yet this is where God is in each of these situations.
And this is the power of the liturgy and the power of the symbol, the power of the mystery that really makes you be there as if you were present, and that makes you helps you to relive that greater story and to experience these in first hand. It's priceless in that sense. And I mentioned that on Palm Sunday, isn't it? And you don't have to do anything. Just let the liturgy do the work. Just let the liturgy embrace you and open your heart to really relieve this time of the Triduum, all the liturgy over Holy Week. And of course, you cannot just turn up on Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday, because it's like falling asleep as you watch a film. We know the ending, but you miss the whole film.
Which had been entirely my experience, because obviously you can't always... When I had small kids, I couldn't make it and so on. So to have the middle bit of Holy Week put in place was really powerful. And then obviously after the middle week, we end with this Triduum. Go on then. The what?
Triduum.
Thank you.
Triduum.
I wouldn't care. I taught RE for years, and that was part of it. So there's probably a generation of children wandering around unable to say the word.
Triduum.
Thank you, John. I'll just carry you with me.
That's Latin?
Every time I need to say that. Sorry, it's Latin?
That's Latin for 3 days.
Like a tricycle. Tree.
That's three.
That's how I teach it.
Triduum means 3 days, and it is really one service, as it were, one same service from the evening of Maundy Thursday to the evening of Easter Sunday. Through chronologically are 3 days. They are liturgically one day unfolding for us in this great mystery of Christ. Passion, death and resurrection. The single celebration of the Triduum marks the end of Lent and leads to the resurrection of Christ on Easter Sunday.
Yeah, so it's weird because it's the 3 liturgies, hey? Using the correct vocabulary, you impressed?
Absolutely.
Excellent. It's 3 liturgies, and yet you go home in the middle. So, especially if you're going home to kids having come home for Easter and stuff, it's a really strange thing.
It has one beginning and one end. The beginning with Maundy Thursday, the beginning of the Eucharist on Maundy Thursday, and the end happening at the end of the vigil.
Yes.
With the resurrection of Christ. So it's really wonderful to have, within the period of 3 days, one single service that takes you to the core, really, of our faith and our salvation, from the Last Supper to the death on the cross to the glorious resurrection of Christ, as we express with a blessing of the fire and the Paschal candle, the Easter candle.
Yeah.
So that's why at the end of Maundy Thursday, at the end of Good Friday and beginning, we don't talk. You just leave the church in silence because it's all part of one service.
We don't even say, so the liturgies don't even begin with hello and welcome or anything, which is just so alien to the rest of the year. We're like, hello everybody, welcome, all the stuff they need to know, whereas you just literally go in, Good Friday, boom, and off you go. And again, the vigil, light the fire, and it's almost the expectation that everybody's already with you. And I'm glad the congregation know that, because I felt a bit weird.
They're used to it.
Yes.
They're well trained. So, yes. So was it very different from your previous experience, as you said, that, so what was the most surprising thing that you could...
I think yes and no different. I mean, certainly, as I say, I've taught it, so I've done bits of it, and in my old church, all of these things were on offer. I just didn't kind of take them up. So done Palm Sunday, done Easter, and you get a bit of the jubilation in it, of each of those. I'd never done the whole thing and kind of committed to it before, and I think I wasn't expecting the emotional highs and lows to affect me quite so much. So that was really very different. I wasn't sure about Compline. So Compline, we should explain, is the beginning of Holy Week. We do a very short service called Compline. And
we do that from Palm Sunday in the evening, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the evening.
And it's brilliant, it's beautiful. There's candles all over church, there's a lot of silence. I'm not big on silence.
No, we know that. But you hold it for 3 seconds, Mary. 3
whole seconds. It was the first Compline. I was like, just normally I do pray in church, but Compline, because it's like, you must hold the silence. I was worrying that everyone is bored, or, what's going on behind me. So there was definitely one silence where you said it wasn't that long, and it felt like forever.
It's not easy to hold silence.
No.
But when you practice it, it's
and I think
easier.
Holding it for other people, so I wouldn't mind praying myself, but the act of, I think I said I'm going to leave a period of silence for everybody to reflect, and then I was so worried that they were bored that I didn't hold the silence particularly well. But so, and that's Compline, and I've only ever come across that as a service for people who've been together for a long time. So at college we'd use Compline, but we'd have had lectures together, we'd have done evening prayer, we'd have had a meal together, and then Compline was a very short thank you to God for everything that's happened, and off we go. But Holy Week is different.
We have to say that Compline is night prayers, the office for night prayer, together with morning prayer, midday prayer, or prayer during the day, and evening prayer. Compline marks the very end of the day. And as a set service. So during Holy Week is quite important, I think, to do it as a congregation, to hold Compline as a time of reflection, as a time of at night to prepare for the Triduum, for what is to come on Maundy Thursday, Good Friday and Easter Sunday. So I think the Compline for us is to prepare us for what is coming, together with the Eucharist in the morning. Compline at night helps, and it is that silence, isn't it, that you hold, and so powerful when there's a group of us holding that silence together in prayer.
Yeah, especially when you're leading and I'm not panicking.
That's not true.
No, for me. But so that was amazing. The Exultet. So the Exultet is an ancient song. It happens on the vigil. For the vigil, you light the fire. From that fire, you light the Paschal candle. You dunk Paschal candle in the dip. Thank you, in the font, and you process it down, and then you sing this song about it's the night of our salvation, and then you also mention the bees. I love the fact the bees get a mention in it.
Absolutely.
And it's, I think, 9 minutes worth of solo singing, which John cheerfully said to me, well,
you are expected to sing the Exultet, as all curates are. And of course, as a deacon, that's the role. So, as a deacon in the vigil, the deacon always sings the Exultet. So, I mean, I remember my deacon, the year I was a deacon, as a curate, I was really looking forward to singing the Exultet.
See, I was slightly concerned. But actually, I think that was one of the God moments, the highlights of Holy Week, was just standing there singing it, and the utter silence in church.
The utter darkness. It was all in darkness. So,
yes. So we should say the service starts in complete darkness, and it's not until you've sung the Exultet that everything's wonderful and you put the lights on and Easter begins. That was one of the real highlights. Although John had helpfully given me a copy with
the people's responses.
Yeah, and the people didn't know about it, did they?
Well, they were in brackets, so you are not meant to use it. But you still sung it.
I sung it while I was there.
Sang it beautifully, so no one noticed.
Well, it wasn't live streamed anyway, so no one noticed. No. It's all good. But no, it was fine. But yeah, there was this bit where the congregation sing "Glory to You, O Lord," and I looked at them for a couple of seconds, kind of going,
no answer.
No, nobody's going to do this. I'll sing it for them. But no, that was surprisingly one of the highlights. If my ministry now was just to stand there and sing the Exultet in a dark church,
you got it.
I'd be a happy bunny.
You got it.
Yeah.
And of course, the Exultet brought us to the great celebration of Easter Sunday. Yes. And this year we had a very well attended Easter Sunday Eucharist with a baptism, which was wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful to have a baptism, and that was great way to really finish and culminate a wonderful Triduum and a wonderful Holy Week. Also acknowledging that, of course, by the end we were all exhausted.
We were, yes, yeah. What a time to have, because it was the first time I'd ever done a baptism as well. So
that's part of the
service.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a wonderful service. It was really joyful, wasn't it?
But of course, after a week of all this, we were both quite tired. So it is really important to acknowledge this and to get the proper break.
Yes, which is why we've been a bit later recording this. And weirdly, more tired than Christmas, which I think Christmas, all of December we were doing stuff. We had Christmas trees, we had like kids coming in for Christingle and all that jazz. But I think possibly because at Christmas you're just joyful. It's busy, but you're doing the same emotion. I was absolutely whacked by the end of Holy Week, which I hadn't expected because it was only a week.
Part of the training.
Everything part of the training. Yes. It was great and lovely to have so many of St. Paul's people journeying with us for some or all of Holy Week. So, yeah, all in all, I think it's been good. So, that does pretty much sum us up, but it leads on to next time.
So, Mary, what we're going to talk next time?
Next time, well, we're a bit worried that it sounds like we spend our entire life in church, because we've done, obviously, Holy Week. Last time we did vestments. So, a lot of people have been asking, what on earth do you do all day? So that is what we're going to address next time. So I should also say thank you to everyone who's emailed in. It's been great hearing the feedback. And as a result of that, next time's episode, what on earth do vicars and curates do all day?
That's right. What do we do on a daily basis, and how do we find time to pray during the day as well? So we'll be covering this as well.
Yes.
And please do keep sending the emails with your feedback or some suggestions for creeping up the candle.
Yep, creepingupthecandle@gmail.com. So all that remains, I think, is for me to say, the Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Creeping Up the Candle. We hope you enjoyed it. If so, please follow us, and we'll be back with another episode very soon. And last but by no means least, thank you so much to Kevin and Estelle Holland for providing the music.